What's happening, everybody? Hopefully your Wednesday, your hump day is off to an awesome start. We got ourselves a solid 9-gamer tonight for to talk through on Draftkings. Obviously, with the big trade yesterday, 4 teams getting involved. We're going to have a lot of value, specifically on the Timberwolves today. We'll talk about a couple of pieces in this show, and then we will really get into the nitty-gritty on this one. We do our members-only video later. In the meantime, though, before we actually get into our DraftKings plays of the day, I want to give a quick shout-out to Minnesota Fatty number 3. 12-0 last night on Overlay, taking down the Pee Wee Progressive Jackpot, getting that big money. Awesome. Congratulations, man. As a former Minnesota resident, happy to see you, taking down that jackpot right there. Funny coming after a day after somebody commented on the YouTube video, nobody's ever going to go 12-0. Boom, there you go. Somebody does it, goes 12-0. $2.50 bet gets you over $1,000. I see he played a couple times on it, but even if it's $7.50, I'll still take that $1,000 payout. It can be done. We've seen it done a few times. It's like winning a GPP. It's not easy, but eventually you will see people who will find ways to achieve. So congratulations to Minnesota Fatty. This should inspire everybody today. Grab a couple of bucks, sign up to play Overlay, go win yourself that jackpot.
Nice job, Minnesota Fatty. Hopefully you enjoy yourself with a nice Minnesota Fatty today.
There we go, guys. Again, we got a 9-game slate. It is Wednesday the 5th. 5-pack deal of the day. So basically just giving out free money here on a daily basis, guys. 30% off annual packages today. An annual package gets you one full calendar year. So today, the 5th of February, till the next, the 5th of February. All the sports we do, baseball, basketball, football. Sign up through their website. I will send you a rebate by the end of the day. If you want to pay manually, there's the PayPal address. All 3 sports, one full calendar year, only $140. One of the better deals that we'll have throughout the season. That all being said, guys, thumbs up are appreciated. And let's move into today's plays. You wanted to talk about D'Angelo Russell. So this one's got a variety of reasons to like it. And you probably like him going back to Brooklyn. And I can get on board with it because it's supported by other things, specifically the Nets struggling against point guards all year long.
Most definitely. I like him going back to Brooklyn, but that is not why I think we're playing him here. It's just another notch in the belt, as one would say. Your point that point guards have destroyed Brooklyn all year is the main point why I like him here. He missed last game, I think, due to a quad/trade deadline injury. Now he's definitely going to be back today. Part of me thinks that they might have, sat him out because of this game here. Big game for him. Obviously, Brooklyn kind of did him dirty. Had a great year for them last year. Wanted no part of him going forward. Chose Kyrie over him. He's got big-time upside in 5 of 10. I love this spot for a guy like D'Lo who has the ultimate green light. This is a guy that can take 20-plus shots any given game. I think this is a game that's close, high scoring. I love Russell here. My biggest, hesitancy with Russell is the trade deadline tomorrow and the fact that he's been, rumored in the past couple days to go, a lot of places, namely Minnesota. However, with Minnesota making this deal for Beasley, I read a bunch about that part of that was because they were just maligned to the fact that they were not going to get Russell this year. I think those trade rumors might be put off, and it's something we'll have to wait and see and read about throughout the day. But as of right now, I love Russell here. Secondly, and before you speak, another thing that just really tickles my fancy, he's projected right now, and again, these projections don't matter too much, especially right now, for under 5% ownership.
That seems low, but I have no way to know that. There's going to be a lot of guard spots eaten up by Minnesota Timberwolves guys today, and we'll talk about those again on members only. You're going to be able to probably spend up on 3, maybe 4 players of 8K or more today, and I think he fits nicely into this. Again, Brooklyn has been terrible against point guards all year long. They are unusual. They are killed by big men and point guards. It's like this inside-outside game, but wings always struggle against them. So as the point guard, a little bit of a pseudo point guard, but as a point guard nonetheless, he's in a good spot to dominate right here. I am the kind of person that a lot of times when we talk about these revenge narratives, I like the other side of it.
Right.
However, in this spot, I don't think the Brooklyn Nets hold any ill will to D'Angelo Russell. They're like, oh, we got to stop this dude tonight. If anything, he might struggle with his efficiency and only shoot 30%. But, if you make 30 shots off of 100 of them, I'm okay with it.
I'm glad you said that because I forgot to ask you that as I was going through my little spiel. Do you think that there's a chance that Brooklyn really gets up for this fight once? No, I don't either. I mean, he was there for not a long period of time. He was very good for them while he was there. I'm with you. I really just don't see that.
Yeah, I don't see it at all either.
Because they chose Kyrie over him. It wasn't like he left on bad terms.
No, not at all. Not in the slightest. So I can completely understand going here. GPP upside and 5 at 10. Solid cash value and a couple other of those ones. And a couple times he had bad games. Well, it happens from time to time because Golden State's terrible. And I think when he had a really bad game against Utah, that was to be expected because Utah's pretty good and they're not.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next up. So I'm going to talk about Jared Culver of the Minnesota Timberwolves. And we got a long segment planned for the members only video today to talk about all the cheap Timberwolves because I don't think we all really know what to expect out of them today. Clearly, they're not getting this variety of guys they traded for yesterday, so they're going to be running a little bit shorthanded right now. Jared Culver is one of the pseudo point guards that they have on this team, along with McLaughlin, maybe some Andrew Wiggins. I don't really think we know who's running the point tonight or how they're going to handle it. I'm not sure Minnesota knows how that they're going to handle it, but it could be a variety of guys who have the ball in their hand, and Culver is one of them. We saw him a little bit earlier this season. He struggled a little bit the last couple of games, but he had some really nice games for them while they were missing a variety of their players. And now with, no Teague in Atlanta, and now that they don't have Shabazz Napier anymore, like it looks to me like it's going to be Jared Culver and a variety of other guys. The thing about Minnesota today is they're at home against an Atlanta team that is one of the absolute smash spots. So this is not a Minnesota situation where they're going to the Lakers tonight and you kind of expect them to get their butt kicked and not be able to score any points. They should be able to get things done today because Atlanta is one of the best places to go for DFS points.
I mean, just to take that a step farther, this is a Minnesota team that's lost 12 games in a row. Karl-Anthony Towns has not won a game since November because he was hurt. They're 6-point favorites here. So that tells you all you need to know. I mean, whether you think they cover that spread or not, Vegas thinks that they're going to win this game despite losing 12 in a row. So your point is very well taken. They couldn't be in a better spot here facing Atlanta. If they were in a tough matchup, I think that fading the entire team could be in play because who knows what's going to happen with them. But here, it's not because of the matchup. So I agree with you. We don't know who's going to run the point for them. Culver, Wiggins, and McLaughlin all in play. I think that the starting lineup is going to be important for me. I want to see who's starting. But beyond that, Culver's going to get run. Top 10 pick last year from Texas Tech. They want to see what they have in this kid. Like you mentioned, they don't have Teague. They don't have Napier. I think you see a combination of guys taking the ball up, Culver being one of them, Wiggins being a main guy. Maybe we get a little McLaughlin. I'm excited to talk about this game on members only. As you mentioned, we're going to have to talk about it for a while, but it's a fun one. This game should be really high scoring, competitive. I think you see defense on both sides lacking. So sign me up, man.
All right, guys, let's keep moving on down the list because there's plenty of guys to talk about. So the other side of this is you want to talk about Karl-Anthony Towns. Now, you're a much bigger Towns fan than I am. I think we've established that throughout the years. I'm probably considered a hater. You're probably a Towns apologist and think he's better than is. And the right answer is probably somewhere in the middle. But it makes a lot of sense here tonight in a home game against Atlanta. And while all these filler pieces take on a bigger role tonight, I think the most likely scenario is Towns is a DFS, very good DFS player, probably has a buttload of usage tonight.
This goes back into the point you made about how it's Atlanta. If they were in a really tough spot here against the Lakers or against the team that played really good defense, I would struggle to get here because he's basically all they have right now, along with Wiggins. But they're not in that matchup. They're facing an Atlanta team that's starting Damian Jones at center, really has no backup. They just traded for Capella. He won't play today. This is just a crush spot of crush spots for Towns. I just mentioned it under Culver that this guy has not won a game since November. That's pathetic. He knows it. He's talked about it a bunch. He wants a win badly, regardless of whether they get it here or not. I think you see a really good effort from Cat tonight. I like him quite a bit.
Again, you got plenty of places to spend up today because you got plenty of cheap guys you can use. You're going to be able to go 4 deep on guys between 8 to 10K, and Towns can easily be one of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of other guys that you probably want to spend up on today, take a look at Kristaps Porzingis of the Dallas Mavericks. He got a big price jump today, and the only reason why is because he freaking deserves it. With no Luka, this dude has been balling, looking like the unicorn everybody used to call him, averaging 57.5 DK points in the 2 games with Luka out. The other thing I like about Porzingis is while it's no guarantee that he continues to score 35 to 40 points per game, there's other ways he's going to be able to get DFS points. He could actually take a 10-point hit today and still be more than quality on his salary. He has no assists and 1 block shot during the last couple of games without Luka. Now, he's not a major assist guy, so I'm not calling for him to go triple-double today or anything like that. But a guy like this with the ball in his hand this much could easily grab 2-3 assists today. It's another 3 to 4.5 points. He only has 1 block through 2 games. This guy averages 2 blocks per game. Like, he could easily have 3 or 4 of those today. So there's a lot of ways where there's still room to grow, but also a lot of ways for the floor to be even safer, because even if he doesn't score 35, 36, 37 points today, he only gives you 25, he grab a couple of blocks and get some more DFS points for you this way. We've talked about Memphis throughout the season. To start the year, they were a crush spot. Let's give them credit. They are a lot better defensively than they were to start the year, but they are still not a team that you're afraid to pick on. So I kind of consider this a pretty ho-hum matchup. Indiana's not a good spot. He absolutely destroyed them the other day. So there's a lot of reasons to go right back to the hand that's fed you the last 2 times out.
So I was definitely wrong about him last time. Not that I, didn't like him. I just liked other guys more. Clearly, he should have been a top priority. He was amazing. I was definitely looking at him today for the points you talked about, how there's a lot of room for growth here. I don't expect him to score like 40 real points every game, but there's room for growth in the rebound department. You talked about the assists and blocks. He's not a guy that gets a lot of assists, as exemplified by the 1.4 he averages. But the fact that he hasn't had any a couple games just shows that there's a game with 3 or 4 assists coming. So you're 100% right. He could take a step back in points today and still potentially have a higher DK score if he bumps up the peripherals a little bit. This is one of the top block shot guys in the league. It's a great spot for him there. I expect this game to be competitive. 2 up-and-coming teams in the West. I think you can definitely take a look at a couple pieces from either side, and Porzingis is going to be the top one. So I'm about it.
Also, this is not a situation where Luka's out for the year. You know what I mean? Like, he can shoulder a monster load for 2 weeks. Luka comes back from his little bit of an injury, and he can go back to a more of a normal role. I would look at it differently if all of a sudden Luka Doncic was out for the season. They were going to try to develop other players, because then you can't expect a guy like Porzingis to do all this for the rest of the season. But it's not. He's only out for a handful of games, and then we'll get him back. So look for Porzingis to be dominant in this time out. He's been awesome the last 2 games. So, even if he doesn't shoot as effectively, we've talked about other ways that he can provide quality points, and it seems like a big price jump. But this is a guy that is a DFS stud. He's coming off of a major injury. He's had a couple more of them this year, but he's healthy right now. He does a little bit of everything, with the exception, if you're right, he's not a great passer. So it's not a shock that he has no assists the last couple of games. But if you asked me to bet on 2 or 0 today, I would bet on 2. And while that's only 3 points, it's a couple other shots he can miss in order to make up for it.
I couldn't agree more. I love that point about Luka also. He's expected back, I think, in like 2 games or so. So this is a great time for Porzingis to just run with it. I think that Luka being out potentially could be really good for Dallas here. They're playing good ball without him. This Dallas team is good.
Yeah, so we talk about the same thing when Giannis is out for the Bucks. Like, it's fun for the other guys to be able to kind of take over. Giannis is so dominant when he's on the court that it doesn't, we were talking about Chris Middleton for a while this morning, and he's so much better than people realize because his numbers don't always correlate because, one, Giannis takes over so much, but also because the other guys have the willingness to shoot. He doesn't have to do as much. It's a great spot for Porzingis, just kind of strut his stuff a little bit.
Like, Middleton is clearly not the guy that's going to complain, and he seems like he loves playing with Giannis. But this guy is also like a stud NBA player. You don't think he relishes the opportunity to be the man for 1 game? Just like Porzingis. Yeah, these guys want to be the man,
Yeah, I mean, Porzingis was supposed to be the man.
Yeah.
He was on the Knicks, and then all of a sudden you just happen to go to a team that's got what is Luka now, 12 years old? One of the greatest young players we've ever seen as far as where he's at on his maturation level for his age. Like, you can be really good, but there's only a handful of people in the NBA better than Luka right now. So, yeah, you're probably not going to be the guy.
Exactly. Porzingis is really good. He's just not as good as Luka.
Yeah, Luka looks like he's a generational transcendent talent. Now, he doesn't play much defense, but his offensive game is off the hook. We'll see how much he grows. I mean, it's possible that he's plateaued or will not get a lot better because there's really only so much room to get better.
Porzingis is like an all-star type player. Luka is like you just said, a generational. MVP. Yeah, MVP type player. Exactly.
Yeah, Luka will get at least 1 MVP in his career minimum. And Porzingis may never get one, but he's a guy that, if things develop in the right way, could be a perennial all-star.
Yeah, like Porzingis isn't winning an MVP, but that's okay because most people aren't winning an MVP. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like, who do we have in the NBA right now that's won MVPs? We got Giannis, Harden, Westbrook, LeBron, Steph, KD.
Under 10 people in the entire NBA.
Am I missing anybody else? That's 6.
I don't think you are.
don't think I am either. I don't know who else.
Kawhi never won it.
No, and he probably never will.
No, because he doesn't play enough games. So, yeah, that just shows you right there. I mean, even guys like Anthony Davis, those guys aren't going to win an MVP probably. So Porzingis is on the level below that.
Yeah, Davis still has a chance to maybe get one in his career. We'll see. But, again, he's got to take over that alpha male role that hopefully he learns a little bit from LeBron on how to do that. But we'll see how he's still very young, so there's still definitely time to get something like that done.
Most definitely.
And Devin Booker will win one.
I knew you were going there. Honestly, it's not to say Devin Booker's awesome. Winning an MVP is just freaking hard.
Exactly. That's why we just went through this. It's currently constructed. We can only think of 6 guys. I might be missing one person, but I don't think I am.
I don't think so either, because I think that person would come to, who could it be?
Yeah. Yeah, I got nothing. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. The annual special is up. Thumbs up is appreciated. Have a great Wednesday.
Thanks, guys.